Herb here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Life is Strange Double Exposure, going for all of the romance achievements. We are going to try to go for them in a single playthrough, which is going to require some setup. All of the setup is going to be done in Chapter 1. There's going to be two characters that you can romance. First one up is going to be Amanda, that you're going to meet in the second subchapter, A Drink to Remember. At the end of this subchapter, you're basically going to head over to the bar and then start a conversation with her. This conversation is going to lead to her asking you out. You are going to want to make sure it is going to be a date thing instead of a friend thing. So once you get the critical story decision, make sure you choose a date thing, and that's going to set you up on the right path. There isn't going to be much you can do from this point to deter you from the path, so as long as you choose this at this moment, you should be good for the romance later on. Now, as for the second person you can romance, this one is going to be done in the last subchapter of Chapter 1, which is going to be Back to School Blues. This is going to be once you head into the admin building in order to meet up with someone in their office. Along their way, you're going to meet their secretary in the form of Vinh, and then you're going to need to do a little side quest for them. There is going to be two achievements also tied to this, so you are most likely going to get this while trying to go for those. So pretty much what's going to happen is you're going to talk to Vinh. He's going to tell you the person in the office is currently busy, and he's going to offer you a side quest to grab him a package from the mail room. You are definitely going to want to oblige, because not only is it the way that you set up the romance, it's also going to get you the male gaze achievement, and it's also going to give you a favor that you can fail to cash in on later in order to get the favor saver achievement. So to briefly sum up the side quest, you're basically going to head back out into the hallway. You're going to go down and then take a left into the mail room, look inside the mail bin for the package, make sure you pocket that, and then make sure you bring it back to Vinh. I am going to recommend that you do this before taking care of the noise in the library, as that's going to be part of the main story. And of course, we don't want that to distract from our main priority, which is going to be this slew of achievements we're going for. So make sure you pocket the package, and that's going to be a big old backtrack back to Vinh. So just straight down the hallway, hand him the package, and then we're going to set up the romance in this conversation. So from this point onward, every time you do talk to Vinh, the best way to ensure that you keep the romance going is to just flirt with him every time. So just make sure you choose flirty options whenever you have dialogue choices, and you should be good for being able to keep up the romance for the rest of the game. So that's going to be the setup for the two people that you can romance. All you have to do is just make sure you ride that boat until you get to Chapter 3, subchapter Nobody Wants to Drink Alone. The first time we are here, we are going to go for the option to romance both of them. This whole subchapter is going to take place at the bar. We're going to start out on the living world line. So once you get control of your character, we're going to head over here to the bar counter, and we're going to speak with Amanda. It's going to start a pretty lengthy conversation with her. Very Life is Strange cliche, lots of corny dialogue and stuff. Once all of that's over, it's going to culminate in this option right here on whether or not to kiss her. This option is only going to appear if your romance level is high enough with her. So hopefully you did the setup right, and hopefully you were able to keep the romance level high enough throughout your playthrough. So what's going to count for the achievement is whether or not you kiss them. So we're going to choose kiss her, and that's going to check off that box for this particular run, where we're going to be romancing both of them. So now that we have that box checked, we're going to head on over to Vinh so we can kiss him too. So make sure you head down the main corridor of the bar. We're going to go over to the bathrooms, and then we're going to world hop. So make sure you world hop over to the dead world line. And then once we are here, we're going to find Vinh over at the bar counter on this side. So same deal as Amanda, make sure you chat it up with him, and then we're going to go through a very lengthy conversation, and this is going to culminate in the option to kiss him or not. Since we are once again trying to romance both of them in this particular playthrough, we're going to choose kiss him, and then we're going to have another one of those, and then once that's over, we should be good for our first achievement we're going for. This achievement's going to unlock once both of those smooch boxes are checked, so it's going to unlock right here. It's going to be called It's Complicated, 25 gamer score for romancing both Amanda and Vinh. So now that that fun is out of the way, we're going to need to make sure we save the game properly so we can save scum in a bit. So before you do that, make sure everything that you need to get done at both versions of the bar are completed. So make sure you get any conversations with anyone out of the way. Make sure you get any collectibles that are lying around out of the way as well. And then once you are ready to move on, we're going to leave out the front door. That's going to take us into the next subchapter. Once you are in control, make sure you hit the start button and then exit to main menu. You should have gotten a save here, and now we're going to start save scumming. So make sure you go down to chapter select on the main menu. We're going to go to chapter 3 spin, and then we're going to load up the subchapter Nobody Wants to Drink Alone. Now, very important, you want to make sure you load it up in explore mode. That's going to be the mode that isn't going to overwrite your save. It's also going to allow you to not have any consequences that will carry on throughout the rest of the game. So make sure you choose Explore mode. That's going to load you at the beginning of the subchapter. Another benefit of Explore mode is you are able to use the skip button, so you could skip through all of that annoying dialogue that you definitely don't want to listen to for a second, third, or fourth time. Once you are back in the actual subchapter and can move around, we're going to talk to Amanda first. This playthrough, we're going for the option to just romance her. So just make sure you blam through that dialogue using that skip feature. It's going to go by super quickly. You still have to make the choices, but you can skip all the in-between bits. Make sure you choose to kiss her, which is going to check that box off. And then obviously we're going to choose to not kiss Vinh. So instead of hopping world lines, we're just going to go straight out the front door, and that's basically going to end the subchapter and kick us back to the chapter select. You should be good for your achievement right here, a nice girl who runs a bar, for just romancing Amanda for 25 gamer score. Then back on the chapter select, you're going to want to do the same thing. So it's going to be chapter 3 spin. Then for your subchapter, make sure you choose Nobody Wants to Drink Alone. And then this time we're going for the third option, which is to just romance Vinh. So again, do take advantage of that explore mode skip to skip all of the introduction bits. Once you are in control of your character, we're going to go straight for the bathroom so we can world line hop. We're going to head on over to the dead world line, and we're going to talk to Vinh right away. And exactly the same thing as the last one, we're going to just use the explore mode skip in order to blam through all of the dialogue. We still have to make the choices, but they're not going to be super important except that one that actually counts, which is the last one. So just make sure you go super duper hard on that skip button, and eventually you're going to get to the critical story decision. We're going to choose Kiss Him for this playthrough, so choose that, and that's going to check that box off. Now, we are still going to need to finish the subchapter in order to get our achievement, which is going to require that we head back to the living world line. So it's going to be back towards the bathroom. Make sure you world line hop, and then once you are back in the land of the living, we're going to need to play out the chapter. Now, the only requirement for beating this subchapter is to make sure you speak to Amanda at least once and then exit out the front door. So we're going to head over to the bar and we're going to talk to Amanda. It's going to be the same conversation that you normally would have with her. However, this time around, you are going to be forced into that critical story decision. You want to make sure you choose pass. You're always going to have this option because you need to talk to her in order to end this subchapter. So make sure you pick pull away, and that's going to set you up for the right outcome where you just romance Vinh and not Amanda. So once you get that taken care of, we should be free to leave the bar. Make sure you head out through the front door, and that's going to wrap things up. Once you get kicked back to the chapter select, you should be good for the next achievement we are going for, which is going to be just to romance Vinh. This one is going to be called Only Eyes for the Bad Boy for a 25 gamer score. Then it's going to be on to the last possible outcome, which is going to be to romance neither of them. So again, back to the chapter select, chapter 3 spin, subchapter Nobody Wants to Drink Alone. Make sure you set it to explore, and then do the same thing. Use your skip button, and then get into the game. We are going to need to speak to both of them in order to get it to count. So first person up is going to be Amanda. Make sure you talk to her. You're going to need to speak to her either way, as that's going to be the one objective in this subchapter that we have to do. So make sure you use those skips to blam through the dialogue. Make sure you get to that critical story decision, and make sure you choose pull away, and that's going to ignore her. And then we're going to move on to ignoring Vinh. So once you are back in control, it's going to be off to the bathroom. Make sure you world line hop, and then once you are on the other side, make sure you talk to Vinh. Exact same thing. Make sure you use your skips to blam through that dialogue, and then once you get to the critical story decision, make sure you choose to decline his kiss. So once the choice pops up, make sure you choose pass, and that's going to check both boxes we need for declining both people. And just like the last couple of ones, we are going to need to end the subchapter. So world line hop over back to the living world line, and then it's going to be out the front door. That's going to kick us back to the chapter select for one more time. There's the last achievement of this bunch, Romantically Disentangled, for 25 gamer score for romancing neither one of them. That's going to be all 4 romance achievements covered in one playthrough thanks to the power of save scumming, and that's all there is to it.